A scene that is reminiscent of a darker era in Guatemala. A time of civil war, forced killings, massacres in the late 1980s. But this is 2022, and once again there are military and police roadblocks on the Pan American Highway in the Guatemalan highlands. Soldiers, their faces covered, search passengers in private and commercial vehicles looking for weapons. And once again, members of indigenous communities in the area are dying in violence. The tension in this small corner of western Guatemala stems from a land dispute between neighboring indigenous communities in the region of Nahualá, a decades-long conflict that so far has resulted in the deaths of hundreds of people, a declared state of siege, and thousands of families living in a constant state of fear. The land dispute was born during the colonial era in the early 19th century, when Spanish settlers forced indigenous communities to live together as a way of exerting political control over them. That system did not take into account traditional animosity between the two communities, differences that continue to this day. Tomás Barrientos is an archaeologist who studies the socio-political systems of indigenous societies.
So you can see that some of that pre-Columbian social and political organization survived, but mixed with a new form of organization, which is the municipality. So we have a hybrid, like everything in Guatemala is syncretic. Religion, and you can see that socio-political organization is very syncretic because it combines the pre-Columbian and the Spanish system.
Syncretism, the mix of cultures and customs that came from the imposition of a different system of organization over 5 centuries ago, did not go as planned.
But it was artificial in the sense that the Spaniards sometimes brought together groups that probably were not used to share the same territory. So we have to understand that coping the system of municipalities with the traditional system of organization has been a struggle all the time. So we have to understand when we have these kind of conflicts over territories that this could have a very ancient origin.
And in the case of the neighboring towns of Nahualá and Santa Catarina Ixtahuatán, its negative repercussions are still being felt today. Families from rival communities are forced to work their fields side by side, contributing to the rise in tensions. And recently, what would seem like a routine dispute between neighbors has taken a more violent, more ominous turn. Catalina Lopez remembers the day in December of 2021 when her husband Alonso left one morning to accompany other villagers to work in the cornfields. Tensions had been high for days, and she was afraid something might happen. The plantations were in disputed territory.
Shutech basu kaper kupang shutech beker sai story shel beker bek shut lakanera bishle shulchikle rukam kuyetak pats an shulik o achtrich benak nekak shaqat batsich chaterish petikle de psakep no wak pe in chakana oración panuik cha machet bek chache kabrevnak ke kamsanik chache no makana ikachikle pudusik cha Regelash only Shelbik.
Her husband shot dead. Today, elderly Catalina lives alone, mostly relying on the generosity of her neighbors. Community leaders say there is no real interest by the authorities in helping to solve the conflict.
Se ha aumentado bastantemente el conflicto ya con varios personas familiares, amigos, vecinos de Nahualá han caído mucho, han muerto mucho por el conflicto. Hay mucho uso de armamento.
The government says criminal gangs involved in drug trafficking or people smuggling are creating more tension in the region, which, due to its geographical position between Guatemala's Pacific coast and the border with Mexico, is of interest. Fredman Pacay works in conflict resolution for the government.
Estas situaciones que se dan respecto a las posesiones de tierra se ven alimentadas por otros factores, ¿verdad? Y se sabe que hay pues también ilícitos. Se ha detectado que ahí es una zona en donde hay tráfico de armas y de municiones, ¿verdad? También se dice, aunque no se ha confirmado, que es una ruta del narcotráfico, ¿no? Porque el municipio justamente pues accede desde la costa sur, ¿verdad? Pasando por todo el área que corresponde a ambos municipios, y pues llegando a Totonicapán, luego Huetenango y finalmente a México. Entonces es una ruta también estratégica y eso alimenta de alguna manera la conflictividad que hoy tenemos en esa área.
Abel Tepaz is one of the community leaders in Santa Catarina. He says a conflict that started even before his great-grandparents lived there is still sowing sorrow, and that the government is simply not interested in trying to solve the issue.
El Estado tiene muchos intereses. Nosotros no estamos en contra de todo el desarrollo, todos los proyectos que vengan, pero siempre y cuando nosotros seamos parte de. Pero sin nuestro consentimiento, si nosotros no tenemos provecho a algo, eso sí no nos gusta. Nosotros lo que queremos es de que el Estado venga, pero que nos informa, diga lo que nosotros querramos.
But government negotiators say interests that go beyond the immediate land conflict are at play.
Nosotros pues tenemos una ruta planteada, una estrategia para darle tratamiento a este conflicto. Sin embargo, en la mesa se nos complica sustancialmente, ¿no? Cuando afloran otros intereses que no son vinculados necesariamente a la cuestión de las tierras. Hay que decir que pues, los participantes pues, también tienen otros espacios en donde participan y llevan sus intereses a la mesa, entonces eso también dificulta.
Not even being able to agree on how to negotiate, neither side shows much optimism about reaching a definitive solution to a violent conflict that has spanned generations. But they agree something has to give eventually. Abel Tepaz is one of the community negotiators.
Que ellos empecemos a reactivar nuevamente este proceso porque sí tenemos que hacerlo, como digo, para la población generacional tenemos que dejar un buen camino para todos, porque si no nos vamos a seguir matándonos. No vamos a seguir, en cambio esto tenemos que solucionar eso.
The alternative is more death, more families torn apart.
Nuestros anteriores se peleaban con palos y machetes y ahorita se están peleando con armas de alto calibre. En el futuro, ¿con qué se van a pelear? Nosotros sí nos interesa este límite territorial para hacerlo directamente, para dejar en paz a la futura generación.
New generations need peace, but they face a future shaped in history that shows no clear signs that it will be achieved.